Thanks to the support as a channel member, Eduardo Franco. Every now and again, in Non-League to Legend or Football Manager or football in general, you get one of those games that you've kind of built up to the point where you really can't afford to lose it. Not because it's massively important for the team or for the football or anything. It doesn't really matter if we win the Europa League this year. I really can't be losing to Spurs, though, can I, after everything that's happened? Hello and welcome to Club 5, Part 8 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have both legs of the Europa League quarter-final against Tottenham. That is a Tottenham side that is currently 5th in the Premier League, so it should be a Tottenham side that is beatable. Lovely to see that the team that are likely to be pipping them to the Champions League qualification is my other former club, Preston. Love the fact that Preston are just continuing to go from strength to strength. The one disadvantage, of course, is it does mean it makes it less and less likely I'm ever going to be able to go back there because they keep on winning even without me, which is... We laid a good foundation. Mansilla actually better than Haaland at this point, which is absolutely bonkers. I mean, he's turned out to be quite a good signing, hasn't he? They didn't need to keep Reyes. But that's not what we're worried about. What we're worried about today is beating Spurs. We are doing all right in the league. Obviously, we lost to Inter in the last episode, but we're still 10 points clear of them. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but we're not going to worry too much about that. And we're not going to worry about the league at all today. Today is one job and one job only. Deal with Tottenham. This is the team that we are sending to London. We've got Secco in goal, a back four of Mansoray, Sotalo, Bremer and Agostini. Locatelli at the base of the midfield, Boatini and Szoboszlai ahead of him. And then Fabre's on the left, Baturina on the right, Vlahovic up front. In fact, looking at Locatelli has reminded me I have made a couple of contract extensions. There was all those players who were out of contract in the summer. We are starting to just decide on a few of them to keep around and do one more year with. Bremer and Locatelli have both signed extensions despite being 36 and 35 years old, respectively. So that means the players now leaving in the summer, guaranteed to be going, Chiesa and Lopez, because they've got other deals arranged. Mansoray and Sotalo are probably signing permanently. We're probably going to let Anel and Porro have their contracts expired, but you can see that we've made an offer at his release clause for Gratakos, because with these contracts that we've now basically set for release, all of a sudden we've got loads of extra space on the wage budget because of the committed spending. So we can actually shuffle the budget around and afford Gratakos. So my theory is, let's bring him in because he has been fantastic for us this season. 7 goal contributions from only 7 starts. I mean, yeah, 21 appearances, but 7.14 average rating. He continues to get better and better. Yeah, he's not got your blow away 5-star potential, but those physicals, I just like the idea of him and Gervais. He's not called Gervais, he's Gervaisio. I fully got it. This guy's just Ricky Gervais now, apparently. But I want those two in midfield forever. Although Bayern Munich apparently have other ideas and are looking at Gervaisio. But yeah, I think we're slowly but surely coming up with a plan for next year. But again, we're not worrying about next year. We're worrying about Spurs. Let's go deal with them. Because the other thing, let's not forget, is Preston are also still in this tournament. So we want to deal with Spurs for 2 reasons. One, because they're Spurs and therefore we have to deal with them. But 2, wouldn't it be awesome to set up a final against Preston? Or I guess it could be a semi-final against... It does rely on both us and Preston winning. The deeper we go with both us and Preston still in the tournament, the more fun it will be. And I cannot wait for the prospect of playing against them and then eventually going back there as manager, which I've officially decided is how I want to end this year's Non-League to Legend. It doesn't always work out that way. Obviously, their existing manager will either need to fail and get fired or continue to do really well and get a better job elsewhere. It might be that the spark we need to get him gone is for me to resign at Juventus and start a managerial merry-go-round that he'd presumably be a part of. But we'll worry about that when the time comes. I don't think that's going to be something we look to do this summer because we haven't won the Champions League with Juventus yet. So we're probably going to do at least one more year here. Although we are keeping an eye on Preston now. And if that job becomes available, we might just abandon ship. It is interesting to see a lot of this Tottenham team are players that were there when I was there. Obviously, we signed that entire back four. We signed the goalkeeper. We signed Vincent up front as a striker. No, Reyes. Reyes was taken off, I think. I think Reyes did start the game, but has been taken off with an injury. But there's not been a huge amount of rebuild at Spurs since I was there because, again, similar to what we did at Preston, we put together a good team. And it's a good team that are looking to create a chance on the edge of our area, and it just ripples over the top. Is that a thing that happens? It ripples over the top of the goal. The net rippled, anyway. We've had a really poor first half there. Only 3 shots, none of them on target. It's been all Spurs. And now they've got another corner and they're aiming for that far post where we know, of course, de Klerk is very, very dangerous from those set-piece situations. And we need to make sure he stays away from the ball when these corners come in. And it's now with us restarting from the goal kick. Wasn't a goal kick. Goalkeeper had it in his hands. That's not a goal kick. But Vlahovic has come very deep here. Locatelli just taking his time, picking his spot, plays it out to the left to Mansoret, and he's got options ahead of him as well. We're getting plenty of time on the ball. Spurs aren't pressing us the way we used to press when I was at Spurs. And Bremer is now the one with all the time in the world. Agostini and Boatini does well to go past his man, plays it into the path of Butterini. I can't even say his name. And it's a poor shot. Butterini, apparently. Bacciarina. Probably still saying it wrong, but it's better than Butterini. And it remains 0-0. I guess I would take a 0-0 from the first leg, bring them back to our place and batter them there. But it would be nice to grab a goal in this first leg and really assert our dominance over the team that we left several years ago now. It's been a while since we walked out on Spurs. And we have got away with one though. Mansoret apparently has thrown himself in front of that to cause the deflection over the crossbar. It wasn't a save by the goalkeeper, but Spurs now have the corner. It's an in-swinger, and Seko is there to collect once again, keeping it away from the dangerous head of de Klerk. And it's back with Spurs now. That was a goal kick. Those of you wondering what a goal kick is, you just seen one there. That was a goal kick. And now it's been lumped forward, looking for Vincent, who, of course, I signed for Spurs but never got to use. And it's another good interception, I think, from Bremer this time. We're doing some last-ditch defending here. It's never a good sign that when you're having to make all these last-ditch tackles, these blocks, it suggests you're probably not playing very well. Vlahovic really isn't playing very well. We're going to bring on Alvarez for him, and I'm just looking at other options we could potentially... I mean, Graticos, I guess. We're trying to throw all of our money at him this summer to bring him in permanently. If we're going to do that, we have to be prepared to throw him into a situation like this to try and change a game. Mansoret taking the throw, finds Fabrice, and now Locatelli. And Mansoret back to Locatelli again, who is really enjoying the fact that he gets one more year at Juventus. And Mansoret trying to find the cross. He beats his man. It's back to Graticos, who we brought on to try and change the game. And his header goes into the top of the net. He doesn't change the game at all. Rubbish. He's failed at the job he was given there. Right, Chiesa can come on. We've got Freddie Lazo, who, I mean, I still don't know that I should be messing around with Freddie Lazo, but we're so short on attacking players that Lazo is on. Porro with the throw. It's a really rubbish one. Former Spurs man, of course, Porro, and now Mansoret trying to find Lazo, doesn't find him, and it's Spurs with the ball. We've got 10 minutes or so left. Mansoret's won the ball again. He's had a really good game, and Alvarez from range, and his effort, just like everything else we've touched today, goes sailing over the crossbar. And we have had a few chances in this second half, but none have really looked particularly dangerous. And I guess 0-0 in the first leg away from home is fine. We do definitely have work to do in that second leg, though. Folks, just want to take a moment to thank today's episode sponsor, Manscaped.com. Now, long-time viewers of the channel will know Manscaped have been a partner of ours for a long time, and you should be very familiar with this little beauty, the Perfect Package 4.0. It is the bundle that we've talked about many times on the channel that includes the awesome Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof trimmer with the fancy light and the bit at the bottom that charges wirelessly. Plus, of course, this is the kit that has the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, your Manscaped pants, which are very comfortable pants, and it comes in this lovely little box. You'll be familiar with this, but what you might not be familiar with is that Manscaped are now going beyond the groin and expanding these bundles even further. So don't worry, the Perfect Package 4.0 will still exist, but you can go beyond it if you want. One option is the Performance Package 4.0, which gets you all this, plus one of these, a weed whacker. A weed whacker is what you do your nose hair and your ear hair with. It's really, really important. One of these now lives permanently in my wash bag because I've reached the age where I definitely need a nose hair and ear hair removal device. Or if you want to go even fancier than that, then why not treat yourself or a loved one to the Platinum Package, which gets you all of the above. Plus, you get 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You get the body wash. These both smell fantastic, and they've got the little pump action jobbies on the top, so they're really easy. Just stand in the shower, pump, 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 do your hair, do your body. When you're done, the deodorant as well. This deodorant is probably the best deodorant I've ever used, and looks very fancy in its beautiful little packaging as well. And whichever bundle you get, you still get the 2 free gifts that have been part of these packages long term now. There's the previously mentioned Manscaped pants, and also the travel bag that I used to, I mentioned it before. I keep my weed whacker and all my other bits and bobs in it. It's handy for travel and in the home. But ultimately, it doesn't matter which one of these packages you choose, because whichever one you choose, we've sorted you out with a massive discount. All you have to do is head down to the link at the top of the description below, use my discount code at checkout, and you'll save money on your order and get free international shipping. The link is right there. Go click it now. It's awesome stuff. Go buy some. Go do it. Did you think I wasn't going to do the line? Of course I'm going to do the line. Are we ready? Your balls will, thank you. Well, it seems like all that money worry was for nothing. The border bonkers. We've now qualified for the Champions League, having won a game against Empoli. This is what the league table looks like. So back in the Champions League. And they gave me a budget of £34 million to spend, plus a slight increase on wage budget as well. So if we were to take the wage budget all the way down, it becomes like 58. And even that still leaves us with 700,000 on the wage budget. And £58 million to spend. And that is after we confirmed the signing of Gratikos. So Gratikos is going to be coming in for 20 million. That's come out of last season's transfer budget, as will the permanent signings of, they're already here. Sutalo and Mansoray. All 3 of them signed permanently on last year's budget, so don't affect any of this stuff. So the new situation, as far as rebuild this summer goes, is we're losing Chiesa and Lopez for sure. These 3 are signing permanently for sure. And then it's just a decision to be made around Porro and Ainul, whether or not we give either of them a new contract or let them go. And to be honest, I'm probably inclined to let both of them go. Porro, we've obviously got Agostini, we've got Maggiani coming through as well as a right back. And Ainul's just not really been playing regularly for a little while. And I think with Mansoray and Sutalo coming in permanently, I just don't think there's room for him anymore. So what looked like a disaster is now shaping up quite nicely. I think we can let those 2 go without necessarily needing to go and find a replacement for them, which then gives us 30 to 50 million pounds to go out and buy the striker that we need, the Vlahovic replacement. So looking better than it was, but we would still like to beat Tottenham and win the Europa League. So let's refocus back in on that. Now we've got through that league game. We've got Seko in goal, a back 4 of Mansoray, Sutalo, Bremer and Porro. Agostini at the base of the midfield, Boatini and Szoboszlai ahead of him. Fabri's on the left, Alvarez on the right, Vlahovic up front. With our Alvarez being in from the start, it does mean we don't have a striker on the bench, it's been the common theme all year. When there's no striker on the bench and then Vlahovic doesn't perform or needs to come off, that's when we really do struggle. We definitely must buy a striker this summer. It is essential. I've never been in the situation before where I'm trying to force myself to buy a striker. It usually comes so naturally to me. There's 2 up front for Spurs right now that I signed. And of course, Reyes was knocking around as well. Between Sen, Vincent and Reyes, we'll have any of them, please. We've already talked about Mansilla this episode at Preston. We'd take him. We'd take Sakuna. We'd take Aspas. We've signed so many strikers in the last 4 or 5 years. We just need one here. Anyone. It doesn't even have to be one of those. We'll take a fresh one. Thank you. We just need a striker. Right. Porro loses out on the ball. That's poor from him. And Spurs looking to build from the back. Remember, 0-0 from the first leg. So we have left ourselves with a little bit of a job to do today. But hopefully it's a job that we are able to go out and do. Agostini sat in front of the back four today, should keep things nice and tidy back there. And Fabris with the ball over the top, looking for Vlahovic, who does manage to get in pace, which is a bit of a surprise for a man as old as he is. Did manage to beat, who was it he beat for pace there? Posselt, maybe? But either way, I mean, that was excellent from Vlahovic. It's a shame he didn't have the finish to apply, but now we've got the corner. It's going to be Alvarez to hit that near post, I think, with the in-swing. That's where everyone's loaded up. In fact, it's gone far post where Bremer was lurking, and Bremer leaps up above his man. I think it's this Budenberg guy who wasn't there when I was there. Certainly, none of my boys at the back are going to be beaten in the air this way. De Klerk does not get beaten like that. Is that De Klerk number 2 who just got beaten like that? Regardless, it's 1-0. Leave De Klerk alone. He's still my boy, even though he's had plenty of opportunity to leave Tottenham and hasn't yet, which is a little bit alarming. But we are 1-0 up, and that is crucial. Mansoret now playing it to Agostini, and now Boatini, who lumps it forward. I think he was looking for Vlahovic. It ended up nearer Fabris, and it's Mansoret who wins it back in. I tell you what, we signed him to provide cover at centre-back. He is turning into an exceptional left-back, as we've seen in these last couple of matches, and the ball is driven across the goal, and Vlahovic is there for his 40th goal of the season. But that is brilliant from Mansoret, who just gets better and better in this left-back role that he was never meant to be playing in. But it's his position now. He is our left-back. He is going to take some beating to dispossess him because he's just doing so well in that role. 2-0 now, and that should kill Spurs off. I don't think they've got enough about them to get back into this from here. It would be a very unspursy thing for them to do. So 2-0, cruise control engaged. Preston are 2-0 up over Nice in their game as well. So the dream of a game against Preston later on in this tournament remains alive. I'd love it to be in the final, but there's no guarantee we get to the final. We've already been beaten comfortably by Newcastle this year. So if we end up having to play Newcastle in a semi-final, I think we'd probably lose. So I'd rather play Preston while we can, just because it'll be fun to play Preston. Right, we're going to make a few changes here, just to freshen things up. Get three fresh bodies on the pitch, including Gervasio, who comes on to play in that central midfield position. And now it's Alvarez with the free kick, floating it over, looking for Leone at the far post, but his header goes straight into the hands of Bazunu in goal for Spurs. And it's 2-0. There's 10 minutes or so left. I think we're probably going to take off one of our attacking players now, just to give them a little bit of a rest as we look ahead towards a semi-final. But in the meantime, we've got another highlight, and it's Bremer giving it to Porro, and now Alvarez on the right-hand side. Can he find Vlahovic with a cross? In fact, he's going to cut it back. I think it goes all the way back to Locatelli, and now Gervasio. Mansoret shoots from range, and it's a lovely effort, but a great save from Bazunu, who manages to push it onto the frame of the goal. But Mansoret's performance across these two legs, he deserved a goal there. He has been sensational. We're going to bring on Baturina, and we're also going to take off Vlahovic. We'll bring Chiesa on. And we'll stick Alvarez up front and it'll be fine. I guess we could have brought Lazo on, but the Lazo thing, he's literally there to make the numbers up. I'm not interested in trying to develop him as a player. And I think Chiesa, although he's got 1 foot out the door and is an old man now, he's still capable of doing a job for 10 minutes against Spurs as we look to defend a 2-goal lead. And he's already managed to get himself up to a 7.0. No idea how. He's been on the pitch 8 minutes. But we have defeated Spurs as if there was ever going to be any doubt. And now we just have to hope that the next round pairs us. Oh, well, okay. So it is Newcastle. That's going to be tough. They are 9th in the Premier League, though. So we've just beaten a team who were well above them. So maybe not that tough, hopefully. And it is all set up nicely for a final against Preston. Preston are 4th in the Premier League. Villarreal 5th in La Liga. If everything goes with form in domestic leagues, it should be a Juventus-Preston final and then us winning the thing. So, fingers crossed, eh? Right, we're going to be obviously focusing on that semi-final in the next episode. We're also going to be keeping one eye on the league as well. We are 11 points clear, but in fact 13 points clear of Inter, but they have a game in hand. We've got 2 games in hand over Milan, who are 11 points clear. It should just be a formality that we win this league at some point. So I'll try and check in and show you when that happens. But I think for the rest of the season, the focus is on trying to win the Europa League and pairing ourselves back up with Preston again, because that would be awesome. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.